Hello bros, Scizor strikes again. So this game I'm going to show you how to play Scizor and maximize your win rate, especially when your team has a very low win rate against the enemy team, just like this where I got 3 attackers in our team and just 2 front lines. And in order for you to win that, I will teach you all step by step the laning phase, the mid game and the late game in order for you to surely and learn something to how to play Scizor and especially how to win the game. So especially in the early game bros, what you need to do is that you really need to stock your attack weight in the early game, but do not over push yourself because sometimes the enemy will defend and will not give you free stack. So if it is one of the happenings in your early game, do not push. You can just clear your farms in the jungle, in your area. So here I have an opportunity to stack because the Mama Swine is at our goal, so it is so okay to contest here, especially my enemy is just Gyarados, so it can easily be outburst the damage of it. So just like that, I'm just stacking and I get the 3 stack early in the game. So it is very pretty good, especially in the late game. And here's our jungler here, so it is time to push. And you will take note bros that our team has a 3 defenders, right? So you really need to observe and think carefully how to win and how to maximize your win rate. So in my strategic play here, we got 3 attackers, right? So I'm playing as a front line here. The reason is that we don't have a proper team composition, especially when 3 attackers. So if I don't frontline or initiate the fight, no one will initiate the fight, and it is so bad that the team enemy or the enemy can position against our attackers to kill or hunt them. So you really need to initiate the first fight in order for the enemy to panic and start the fight also, which gives a space to your attacker. So that's right, you really need to initiate in order for your attackers to have space and to deal more damage in the backline. So here I'm just stacking here again. So I got the 6 stacks, and you really need to know that when you have the bullet punch, you need that 2 stack of it, or use your 2 bullet punches to the wild Pokemons or your enemy. You need to maintain that damage, or stack, in order for you to deal more damage to your opponent. And especially it is so important to stack that entering the fights. Just hit the wild Pokemons in your area, and once you get the 2 stack of your bullet punch, good to go. You need to go push. So here I use my sword dance because, as I've said earlier, I'm acting as a frontline in this game because we have a very low win rate in this fight because the enemy has a very good team composition against us, because we just have 3 attackers. Because 3 attackers in your team is just too much bro, I tell you honestly. It is so hard for you to win the games, and especially in the late game Rayquaza, where Gyarados, Aegislash is so easy. So here I'm acting as a front line, and I use my full heal and Unite move, and you drag the enemies just like that. So it is very important for you to learn also the Unite move, that you can drag the opponents and dragging them in an area where you can use the bullet punch that hits the multiple of opponents. So it is really important for you to master the dragging system of Scizor. So you need to observe bros. You cannot use you can use your bullet punch just tanking the damage, and if there's opportunity to drag your opponents in the backline, you can use your Unite move. So here, as you've seen, I'm acting as a front line, and that's a problem bros. If the enemies can push against your zone, the Aegislash, you've seen that he goes to the attacker, right? So you really need to maintain a wall in order for them to cannot pass through the walls, and makes your attackers have a space to attack at the back lane. So just you've seen here, I'm just maintaining alignment to my attacker in order for them to kill. So just like this, I'm initiating the fight. So even I'm initiating the fight, I have a full heal, so it is okay. And I have my sustain, which is the bullet punch, sword dance. So you really need to spam your sword dance bro in order for you to have a defense, and also to maximize your attack damage to the opponent. So just like here, before entering the fight, I'm stacking my bullet punch in order for me to have more burst damage and also sustain in the fight. So stacking your bullet punch in entering the fight is very important. So here I'm initiating again the fight, so my Pikachu can deal damage in my backline. So as you've seen, I'm maintaining a distance and a wall so that I could not be far ahead to Pikachu in order for my enemy to focus just the damage on me. So just like that, I'm maintaining my distance, I'm maintaining the wall in order for my attackers to have a free hit. So especially the castle here goes to the backline, so it is so good also. But here, I'm just maintaining again. I'm creating a line for my team in order for them to deal damage and cannot be killed by my enemy. So also playing attackers pro, do not overpush yourself. You need to circle around to your attackers, I mean to your defender or all-rounders in the game. Here I'm just escaping here and just using the bullet punch to heal my HP. So it is really important, bro, when you're using as picking any Pokemon, you really need to know what's the weakness of your team and what's the strength. So as you've seen, I'm even low HP. Do not go back, bros. If you have low HP, you can just use your bullet punch, especially when you have a bullet punch 3 stack. So your sustain is very good and you have full heal, so do not go back, just push. But if you are I mean very low and the enemy has a lot of burst damage, it is very good to just go back and just reposition again and go home to your base. But that time they don't have a lot of burst damage and CC, so it's just good to go and just use my full heal for backups if necessary. So here you will see that I'm just farming and getting my level 14, and I will go to the top lane again to help my team. So it is very important for you to help the team. So Gyarados uses his Unite move under 3 minutes, so it is bad. So it has a possibility that we can win in the late game, especially in the Rayquaza fight. So keep in mind, you need to observe the cooldown of their Unite move, so it is good to go to fight in the Rayquaza. So here I'm just jumping again to Aegis Slash and using my Sword Dance and hit my bullet punch. So here also many enemy uses the Unite move, so it is bad for them to Rayquaza fight. So we can fight, bros. You really need to know that what's the time you need to attack. So the time you need to attack is the enemy has no Unite move, so it is a perfect time for you to use that opportunity to fight your opponents, because Unite move is very important in the last team fight. So here in the late game, you will see the play that I will move. So I'm just jumping around and using my bullet punch to Rayquaza in order for me to have the maximum bullet punch and sustain. So here, as you've seen, I use my Sword Dance and I will use my Unite move to Espeon and drag the Cramorant there, but it got cancelled. So I'm just using my Sword Dance again and bullet punch. You really need to remember, bros, you really need to spam your Sword Dance in order for you to have a defense, because the plus of Sword Dance is you have a defense, and also spam your bullet punches. Make sure you hit your opponents in order for you to have a sustain in the fight, and make sure you create a line, especially your team has a weakness, especially picking 3 attackers. You really need to initiate the fight in order for your attackers to do a lot of damage in the backline. So thank you, bros. I hope we reach 20 likes again, and like and subscribe for more type of this content. Thank you, bros, and stay hydrated as always.